Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 27 of our online Facebook yoga practice. I do have all of these videos uploaded onto my YouTube channel. I will provide a link, or you can just Google my name and you should be able to find it easily enough. As I begin to set up our practice, come into a comfortable seated position. Find your natural breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Begin to relax your body and focus on your abdomen. We will do a 60-minute class today. We will be focusing on yin principles of holding for longer, 3-4 minutes, working on the deep fascia. We will also bring in a Kundalini Tantra practice today, which is basically starting to open that energy within each human. We have, according to yoga tradition, a dormant energetic force. And we begin today by focusing on the Ajna Chakra for this process. Now, this should be a practice that is followed daily for 1 month prior to moving on to the next. Since this is a recorded practice, we will move slightly more quickly and you can adapt yourself according to your own schedules. As you continue to breathe, begin to feel the balloon in your belly expanding. All periphery of the sphere extending up, down, east, west, north, south, outward in all directions. Trying to let the shoulders sink down the spine, dropping, dripping, melting down the back. When you feel that wave extending up, follow and let your consciousness push the belly out. And now focusing on the extension sideward of the rib cage. Feeling that wave ascending up the body, the belly, the ribs, and still the shoulders dropping down, lengthening the neck with every inhale, lifting the chin, lengthening the spine, finding space between each vertebrae. Relax the legs, relax your feet, paying attention to any sensations moving through the body. And of course, if at any time you are uncomfortable, adjust your legs, sit against the wall, use a block, a pillow, or something to lift your hips up. You can also adjust the positioning that you are sitting in according to however you would like to sit. Keep a block or a strap nearby. You can always sit on the block, lifting yourself up. And of course, sitting in a chair is quite fine as well. Wherever you find yourself, start to now focus on that third tier of the wave, the balloon in your belly, the barrel in your ribs, and opening, lifting through the thoracic, the clavicular, the higher regions of the skull, the scalp, the Sahasrara chakra, the crown of the head, and just breathe that wave starting from the Muladhara chakra, inhaling up and exhaling down. We'll stay here for just another breath or two. And for our introductory practices today, I would like us to come into a straddle position. So opening the legs nice and wide. They don't have to be exactly angled at 90 degrees. As long as you're comfortable, as long as the hips are not tilted forward or back, start to feel the pelvic floor flattening, the base of the spine, the coccyx. Try to feel the back of the knees pushing against the ground. Heels moving away from you, toes moving back towards you, sitting nice and tall. Just feel that shape. And breathing deeply. Keeping those three parts of the body. You can begin to include the Ujjayi breathing technique, the psychic breath. Imagine the clavicular area, the glottis contracting with each inhale and exhalation. Imagine you have a sound like Darth Vader, or like you are fogging a window or your glasses to clean them, but with your mouth closed. The sound will be something akin to this. Follow your breath, follow the wave of your body with every inhale lifting, and you will feel those postural muscles starting to activate now down the trapezoid of your back. Just let the shoulders melt down. On your next exhale, we're going to keep that same breath and come into some movement first with the neck. So some neck rolls. So if you do have any neck issues or tightness, be very gentle. Just take the most minimal amount of movement with the chin. We're going to guide ourselves as though we're holding a pencil somehow with the chin, and that's where we're drawing from. Okay, so always be leading with the chin. So as we exhale, dropping down, and let that cervical spine drop and lengthen. Keep the thoracic region lifting, lumbar spine lifting. And again, drawing from the pencil in your chin, let's start to make half circles coming up to the left side and again down. Now, if it's a little bit too tight, just start almost like a swinging pendulum, just back and forth, like boing, 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 almost like that. Just, and then slowly start to climb up, almost like that pirate ship at the midway. It slowly starts to build. We're not going to put our heads back like that pirate ship goes all the way around. No, 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 no. We do not want to put that pressure on that part of the spine, but just slowly start to draw a nice half moon. Inhaling deeply using that Ujjayi breathing technique and really starting to feel that contraction in the throat. And now on your next exhale to the left, let's allow the head to look left, shoulders down. And we're going to take our right arm and starting from the thoracic midline, starting from that thymus gland, pushing it in. You can give yourself a little bit of a massage or a bit of a tap if we're using some tapping methods. That's very good for our immune system, and it's just kind of a nice self-massage. But then slowly start to circle those fingers out. You can find the intercostal muscles between the ribs, but we're aiming for the shoulder, so don't spend too much time lingering around that massage area. That's something you can do also with some nice massage balls or whatever different name you have for them. That, oh gosh, even just that touch is beautiful. So you can always bring these in as well, but we want to be pushing that shoulder away from us. Right arm can be lengthening, flattened down, and keep looking, pointing the chin in the opposite direction. On your next inhale, hold the shoulder. So now we're cupping the top of the shoulder with the palm, continuing to look in the opposite direction. And then we're going to bring that chin directly forward. So looking forward. So we're tilting the head and arms come up, fingers find that soft spot outside the temple, and helping just a little bit with a deeper pull and nodding chin into the chest. Feel that whole expanse of movement. And we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So bringing the arm back out, chin back to center, and then exhaling down. And again, find that little seesaw type of movement. And then slowly expanding your half moon or half circle. And then coming up to the opposite side, looking, breathing here for just a moment, and then taking the opposite hand, starting in the sternum and circling outward. You can use multiple fingers at once, of course, to get a bit of a deeper, more effective massage. And then start to push that shoulder away from you. Continue looking in the opposite direction. And then cupping the shoulder, continuing to look in the opposite direction, feeling the openness in the chest, in the shoulders, in the shoulder girdle and blades. And then tilting that chin forward, opposite hand comes up, find the soft sweet spot outside the temple. Again, you can put a little bit of pressure there, but exhale, mostly focusing on the lengthening of the neck, and then chin coming down into the chest. Deep nodding, but we don't want to ever put our head too far back. We've got a lot of weight, a lot of brains going on up there in that head of yours. So don't let it hang back too far and risk ruining or causing any injury. Let's bring your arm off, head back to center, both arms out with an inhale. And bending the elbows, interlacing the fingers. Let's bring the elbows together. And again, the cervical spine, chin coming into the chest. Staying in that nice little comfort zone you've created. And just hanging here. We'll come down a little bit more later, but first, we're still just stretching out the top of the neck, lengthening the spine, the cervical spine, opening across the shoulders. Breathe into the upper back of your lungs. Continue to sit up nice and straight. Remember, you are still moving the toes towards the head, ankles and heels away from you, backs of the knees pushing into the ground. Pelvic floor flattening, grounded. And when you're ready, let's inhale, coming up. And opening the arms, cactus arms, and slight back bend, not too much. We'll come into a deeper one in just a moment. But breathing here just for a second. And exhale. Let's bring the palms down, fingers pointing towards the toes. We're just going to lengthen the whole body here, the whole front of the body. So pointing the toes, keeping the legs straight. If you can, if you need to bend them a little bit, that's fine. And just try to bring the toes down to the ground. Inhale, lift. Make sure the hands are away from you a little bit, otherwise you won't get quite the leverage you need. Inhale, lift. Keep the chin into the chest, nice and tall. Shoulders down, trying to get the toes into the ground. And exhale, we'll do that 3 times total. So coming down, you might want to wiggle the heels, the feet a little bit. One more time, inhaling up. Bring the toes down to the ground. And exhaling down again, keeping the chin tucked. Feet a bit of a wiggle if you need. And one more time, inhaling up, lifting. And exhaling down. Good. We're going to come into a meditative pose that we haven't done before. For men, it's called Siddhasana. For women, Siddha Yoni Asana. And basically, it's the same, just depending on the genitalia. So bringing the left foot in first. The heel ought to be pressing against the perineum, which is just a few inches back from your urinary system and between your excretory system. So right in between that space, a few centimeters up, you'll have some activation glands. So trying to just sit on that part, and we're going to try and tuck the feet into that lip that we create between the calf and the thigh. Now, that may not be happening for each of us, but as we bring this foot in now, so we'll keep this foot tucked nice in and tight to the thigh, heel still pressing against the groin, bringing this leg in, and similarly trying to tuck the toes into that space. And if it doesn't quite go in all the way, that's absolutely fine. You can sort of keep it lifting. We're not going to come into a full lotus today, but we are going to be starting to aim towards that. But also we want to be keeping the heels pushing. And find a position that works for you. Now we're going to focus on Trataka for a moment. Now Trataka is the eye yoga that we have spoken of. I would like you to find a point. Could be an object that you look at on the ground. It could be a flame. It could be a natural object. It could be stone, crystal. Could be a mantra as well, or a mandala, a concentric circle type of pattern. Whatever it is, just take this moment and gaze at the center point in this place. While we do so, keeping your legs as comfortable as you can. If you need to adjust them at any time, do feel free to do so. Otherwise, when you're ready, we're also going to bring in the Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, which is the alternative nostril breath, starting with the right hand, right nostril closed. If you're familiar, please begin. Otherwise, I will explain and demonstrate the first round, and then we will do this for probably about 2 or 3 minutes today. If at any point you feel lightheaded, bring your forehead down to the ground, come into a child's position, or just stop. If you do have any hypertension or other issues similar to such, you may, of course, want to consult your physician or medical advisor prior to doing any of the breathing practices. Now, having said that, we are doing more relaxed breathing practices. These are not energizing practices such as the Kumbhaka or the Kapalbhati type of breathing techniques. Part of the reason that I want to focus on the deeper breath and the more elongation of the respiratory system is, of course, due to the pandemic's attack on the respiratory system. Of course, no claims to healing, but simply using our lungs, using our breath, not only to empower the lungs, but to oxygenate the blood flow. And I've always had a very strong belief that people have always said we use a limited amount of the brain, which is often an urban legend, and it's sort of a miscalculated and misconstrued logical fallacy. But it is indeed a fact that we use minimal part of our lung capacity, and not two-thirds only, and 1/3 lie dormant. So on your next breath, for those of you that are just starting out with me, we will continue for another 2 minutes. For those of you expert amongst us, you'll be getting a little bit deeper practice. So right fingers, second, third finger folded in, right thumb coming in to block the right nostril. You're going to inhale completely through the left for 2 or 3 seconds. Hold the right, open the opposite. Close the left, open the right, and exhale for twice as long as your inhale. So if your inhale is 2, exhale 4. If it's 3, 6, 4, 8, etc. Your breath should get longer with each cycle of practice. Okay, I'll use my hand to guide you. You do not have to use your hand. You can keep your hands down, palms facing down for a sense of knowing, palms facing upwards for a sense of seeking knowledge. And when you're already maintaining those 3 parts of your breath, using the Ujjayi breathing technique as well, when you are ready, exhale completely and inhaling through the left. Close left, open right, and exhale for twice as long as your inhalation. And then inhale. Notice it's longer already. Close and open the opposite and try to match that by extension. So if your new inhalation was 5, now your exhale is 10. And again, breathe. Close, open right, and exhale. Follow your breath, follow your rhythm, follow your own pace according to your body, and just become an observer. What is happening in your body? Feel the effects of the increased oxygen on the body, on the prana, on the vital life force, on indeed the swara that is coming as we begin to use the prana in a little bit of a different way. Continue this round. Keeping your focus on the object in front of you. And once you've come to the end of this round, release your hands. You may want to use a tissue if you need to. Allow your spine to turn just slightly side to side. And we'll come into our first yin position, a Paschimottanasana, which is a sitting forward bend. If you would like to elevate your hips, please feel free to do so. A block is nice and effective because it gives you a bit of pressure on the lower spine. But at the edge of a towel, even your rolled up yoga mat is fine. Or, of course, you can just sit directly on the ground, whichever is most comfortable for you. We are going to hold this for 3 minutes, so mentally prepare yourself for that. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down, eyes of the elbows open, tips of the fingers touching. And when you are ready, we're going to go with a nice straight back. So keep saying straight in the cervical spine, straight in the lumbar region, straight in the thoracic until we cannot go straight anymore. And then exhale, start to round the back down. Follow your body, trying to bring the nose and the knee together. Again, keeping the eyes of the backs of the knees open, pressing into the ground, heels pointing away from you, toes pointing towards you. This is one of the best asana in yoga. Asana means posture. Yoga means union. Paschimottanasana means 2 legs sitting forward bend. It is a release of all of the internal organs. It is a lengthening of the spine. And the spine, as we know, is basically the only thing we need to survive. You can cut off your legs, cut off your arms, and you will be absolutely thriving and possibly even more efficient in your systems, your organs, your vital ability, your ability to use that vital life force, because of course the limbs are not draining your body of the essential fluids that are required. That's 1 minute here. By now you should feel the phase change. With every inhale, lengthen. With every exhale, trying to relax, finding more space. Reminding yourself the balloon in your belly is expanding with every breath, your body becoming softer, lighter, indeed almost as if you are floating, counteracting the effects of gravity. Coming up on 2 minutes by this time in a yin position. We are feeling the chemical reaction of the benefits of the pose in this practice. Hyaluronic acid is being released from the joints. The fascial tissue is beginning to activate, and fascia has different states depending on your mental state. So if your mind is not relaxed, your fascia is probably and fascia is that dense connective tissue that is connecting the bones to the ligaments, to the muscles, to the organs. Not only connecting, but also interpenetrating each of them, connecting each system to each other. And in fact, research stating that fascia is likely its own sensory organ system, one that we do not have a way to really understand at this time. We're coming into the last 15 seconds of this pose, so really letting the body melt down. And when you're ready, keeping the chin tucked into the chest, rounding up vertebrae by vertebrae, beginning with the lower spine. If you do have something in the back and it's interfering possibly, you may want to give it a little nudge. Otherwise, start to round the back up, vertebrae by vertebrae, nice and slowly. The last thing that comes up is your shoulders, your chin, your chest. And again, once you've come to sitting, you might want to give a little bit of a twist to both sides, inhaling as we look to one side, exhaling as we look to the other side. And we'll come into a half shoelace position. It is a traditional position, but not so commonly used. So in from Paschimottanasana, taking the left leg and crossing it over, bringing the knees on top of each other as much as you can, getting them directly flattened. And then we're going to try to bring the left heel towards the right hip. Now, it's not going to get there, or it might if you're very open and flexible. And if it does, then bring it into a half lotus, an Ardha Padmasana position. Otherwise, just keep it moving towards that outside of the hip. Again, this straight leg is relaxed but active. Back of your knee pushing down, heels moving away, toes moving towards you. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down, eyes of the elbows open, tips of the fingers touching. With a nice straight back, lifting up and coming down, putting weight on this upper leg, and you feel that? Do you feel how that deepens? Find your edge. We're going to hold this just for 5 breaths. 4. 3. 2. 1. 0 is indeed a number, perhaps the most elegant number of all, according to the ancient Arab mathematicians. 0. And on your next inhale, you can use the hands to slowly walk back. Again, rounding from the lowest vertebrae, slowly coming up all the way. And we're going to move this leg now into a reverse pigeon position. So bringing the ankle just above the knee. Again, sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down, and exhale, forward fold. Again, using the upper body to move this knee down. Now, keeping in mind, today we're working on that first, or rather the Ajna Chakra, which is located at the third, or rather just behind the center of the forehead. It is the advisable place to start in yoga practice because it is the one that needs to be first awakened in order for the rest to kind of activate. Now, it's not like one chakra activates and then the next and then the next and they kind of climb. They are more like a a constant light show where there are different expansions of energy depending on which is most active in you. And I've believed for a very long time, whatever vibration we resonate at most often in our human life is probably the pathway that we're making for ourselves in whatever comes next. Who am I to judge or to know? On your next inhale, again, rolling up, rounding, and slowly inhaling, coming up, planting the soul, plant your soul. Toes in line with the knee, sitting up nice and tall, femur coming into the chest, and you can feel when you pull that femur in, you feel that tightness right in the front of the hip flexor. Even that can be quite nice. You can even just experiment with that. If that's where you're comfortable, stay here. Otherwise, we're going to come into a twist. If you would like to deepen the twist, coming into a full Ardha or a full Matsyendrasana, that's fine. You can bend this leg under. Otherwise, keeping the right leg straight. And we'll come into a half Matsyendrasana. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down, eyes to the elbows open, fingers touching, opposite arm forward, opposite elbow to the opposite knee, and pushing opposite arm can act as a pillar behind you, lengthening the spine, relax the lower body. This is focusing on the lower back. Matsyendrasana means Lord of the Fishes. This is a very good floating pose. If you can get into this pose, if you're in the water, you are supposed to ascend to the top. So you continue to breathe. Feel the internal organs. Feel them creating space. And on your next exhale, release the elbows, coming back. So again, if your leg was bent, if you're in a full Matsyendrasana, you can come back to Ardha Matsyendrasana with the bent leg or with the straightened leg. And this bent leg in front of us, let's again fold it under. Now again, today we'll find a little bit of a crux. So again, trying to bring the heel to the base of the spine, or just in front of the base of the spine, between the two excretory areas, and come into Uttanpadasana. So again, you may need to lift yourself a little bit, sitting, and now you are elevated. So this is where we start to use our body as a little bit of our own prop. Rather than sitting on a block or a towel, you can start to sit on your own knee, trying to keep the femurs parallel. Right leg is straight but active. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down, and exhale, forward fold. Again, we'll stay here just for 5 deep breaths. Anytime we're in a forward bend, you're focusing on the upper backs of the lungs. That is where the pulmonary resources are most large in the human body. Psychologically, we often feel the lungs are here in the front with the heart, but no, everything's really in the back. So let that breath, that wave, rotate through your body. And on your next inhale, let's begin to lift. And rolling off to the side, bringing the leg back down to a Dandasana, or just a regular staff sitting position. You can bring your arms beside you and try to stay nice and tall. Check your posture, check that position. Your body should be proportionate. Again, your heels are away, toes moving towards, eyes of the elbows moving down. The femurs are rolling open. I say to my elementary students, it's the bum book. You can open your bum book. So you can lift and roll the femurs out. You can even play a little bit with the heels going back and forth. And then drop yourself down. Slightly tilt the pelvis back. Drop yourself down. Find that pelvic floor. And breathe deeply into that space. We'll get ready to do the same thing on the opposite side. So starting now with the right leg, we were first in Paschimottanasana, coming into a Ardha shoelace position. So crossing the knees over, simple enough. And if that's your availability today, I don't know what happened to you. I don't know what you did last night. Stay here. That's absolutely fine. If you'd like to start to bring the heel towards the hip, again, fine. And if you kind of lose that tightness in the knee, just push yourself forward a little bit. And again, you can elevate your hips. Elevating the hips, keeping the knees down is always going to create a little bit more space, particularly if you've had any injuries or just lack of movement, as what sometimes tends to happen. Come into a forward bend. So when you're ready, inhaling arms up, shoulders down, eyes of the elbows open, tips of the fingers together with a nice straight back. Lifting, lengthening, reaching. Once you find your edge, then wiggle your way down. Let the spine round forward. Feel the weight of your upper body helping to open the hip, lengthening the hamstring in both legs. Here, getting a nice deep stretch. And if it's intense or too intense, come out of it just a little bit and breathing. Another 3 breaths here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Feeling the wave along your back, opening the backs of the upper lungs. On your next inhale, slowly rounding, tilting the tailbone back, lifting vertebrae by vertebrae. And that lengthening of your vertebral column is one of the best things that we can do for our health, quality and quantity of the health we have available to us. Bend up into a half pigeon position, making sure the ankle and the knee are not ossifying or really pressing bone against each other. Feeling the hips open, you can start to push down a little bit here, inhaling arms up, shoulders down, and again, forward fold, using the torso to bring the leg a little bit further into it. Bend and make sure you keep this straight leg relaxed. Relaxed leg and feel the bones connecting in the socket. Feel them melt. After a few breaths, start to feel the connective tissue softening around where they hold your limbs to the torso of your body. Taking another few breaths here. And slowly inhaling, rounding up, vertebrae by vertebrae, coming into Matsyendrasana, Lord of the Fishes. Flattening the toes in line with the knee. If you'd like to come into the full version, as long as your hips don't lift, that's fine. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down, tips of the fingers touching, opposite elbow forward against the knee, and reverse your twist. Now, if you'd like to find binding, you're welcome either to use the hand as a pillar or to loop through and find your arms together. You can use a strap for this as well. Don't force yourself. Make sure your hip stays squared. You are twisting, and twisting is a digestive agent, so let everything you got go. Breathing deeply here and careful to maintain the depth of your breath. Twisting is a stressful position by nature. Maintaining your depth of breath and relaxation here will help to train your neural pathways to be more relaxed in stressful situations. When you're ready, let's begin to release the hands, coming back to center. If you were in the full position, you can lengthen out that bottom leg, uncrossing the foot, and finding ourselves into Uttan Padasana. So again, sitting on the heel, finding the inner thigh against the instep of the foot. Okay, and adjusting as you need, giving a bit of a lift to your hips, trying to keep the femurs in line. Inhaling, arms up, shoulders down. And exhale with a nice straight back until you are straight no more. And breathing here for 5. On your next inhale, when you're ready, slowly rounding the back, coming back up. Now we've done it, and releasing onto your bottom and inhaling to Dandasana again, staff pose, sitting up, nice and tall, a V-shaped position, or one of the bases of Salasana, which is another story and another class. Now we've done a lot of forward bends, but they've been quite short, but all together probably 8 or 10 minutes in the 40 minutes of this practice thus far. Now we're going to come into a nice deep counter pose of a back bend. Have a block available. If you would like to have an additional block for your head, if you do have neck issues, then put it a little bit further back so that you can bring balance to your head. Otherwise, I'm going to keep my knees bent today, and this is again in honor of Yuki. This is a wonderful pose. When the knees are bent, especially when we're lying back here, it really keeps the blood kind of just focusing all on this core area and floating directly up your spine, of course, or rather the energy, nervous system energy. So when you're ready, have the hands pointing, fingers pointing towards your toes, palms flat, about 6 inches away from the body. Exhale, slowly start to come down. Find your space of comfort. And we are going to hold this for 4 minutes. So mentally prepare yourself to be here for 4 minutes. And again, come into this position at your edge. Inhaling arms up so you can get that real sense of depth in the shoulder blades. And the trapezium. And when you're ready, let's exhale, bring the elbows down and arms out to the side in a T-shaped position, and just completely surrender and breathe. Remember, you have a balloon in your belly. With every inhale, your body becomes soft and lighter. That's 1.5 minutes. Preparing to hold this for another 2.5 minutes. If at any time you feel pain, discomfort, or otherwise that is unpleasant, come out of the position. We are halfway through this pose. By now, feeling your spine possibly having a few cracks, a few pops, a few extensions, lengthening. And again, just a reminder that if you do have children or anyone under 12 or so, they should be moving. They ought not hold these longer positions Not until the bones have completely ossified. And as you breathe, remind yourself you have a balloon in your belly. With every breath, your balloon is bigger, softer, lighter. Another minute or so. Feel the opening of the front body. Feel the vulnerability in the front body. Starting to pay attention to any sensations in the tips of the toes and fingers. Any energy or heat indicated around the soles or the palms. Taking a seat of observation in the body. And taking one or two more deep breaths here. And now when you are ready, let's bring the arms again back to that T-shaped position. Feel that stretch across the chest. Inhale, bend the elbows, bring the hands to the head, interlace the fingers behind the neck. Bring the elbows in, tucking the chin into the chest, stretching the cervical spine, lengthening your whole back body. Feel the ease of breath coming into the diaphragm. Pressing the shoulders down, always down, away from the ears. Feel the heat moving through your body. Feel the sensation in the bottom of your feet. And when you are ready, begin to come up all the way, removing the block, if you so had one there. And before we come into our prone, or rather supine positions, let's just massage that back out. So bringing the feet together, holding the hands, or rather the elbows into the hands, into the elbows, wrapping around the knee, and just round the back forward. Keep the chin into the chest, try to bring the forehead to the knee. And then inhaling, lift. Deep breath. And following your breath. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Now let's bring the palms to the knee and keep lowering down. Feel that place in the lower back, in the sacrum. And just slowly rock side to side. Feel the pressure in the glutes, the gluteus minimus, top of the max. And when you're ready, let's start to just find a little bit more rolling, a little bit more space. Just let the weight of the body find its movement, trying to control it just with your breath. And of course, if there's any one position or any place in your back that really needs a bit of extra pressure or attention, feel free to stay there. Otherwise, we're going to come into a Halasana Shalbhasana combination. So Halasana is our plow position with our feet behind our head. And Shalabhasana is our inverted, one of our inverted positions. So if you are menstruating, if you are pregnant, if you have any serious back issues, then you may not want to do this position. If you are simply not comfortable bringing your feet behind your head, bring the block just to the lower back and just start here. So just start to feel the lift. Okay? So if this is where you're at, this is absolutely fine. You're going to feel some very powerful drainage of the blood. You're going to feel the lymphs opening in the inside, the nooks of the hips and the joints. And if you are feeling a little bit more flexible, a little bit more open, a little bit more mobile in the back, we can start to slowly, without jumping, it has to be very smooth. If this is where you stop now, stop here. Otherwise, start to follow your vertebrae one by one until you can find a comfortable place to be. Okay, now that's not where everyone has to be, and if you don't want to use a block, that's fine. And otherwise, if you'd like to come up the wall, that's also absolutely fine. We're going to stay here just for a minute. Literally just 1 minute. Feel the blood moving through your body. Feel a sense of lightness coming over the lower limbs. And just really try to connect with the sensation you feel and identify it. What is it? Is it heat? Is it tingling? Is it an electricity type feeling? Is it a fluidity? Is there a sense of a wind or temperature change? Or maybe it's something totally different for you. What does it feel like to have the circulation returning to the body, opening the lymphatic system, and indeed working the muscles? So those muscles, again, they'll start to betray us. They will begin to tire after a certain amount of time. Now, every muscle will do that until it is trained to go a little bit further beyond. Now, if you're here, stay here. This is absolutely fine. If you're up against the wall, stay there. If you are in a full halasana position, I'd like you to now take your hands, bring them to your lower back. Thumbs should be towards the side of the hips. And inhale, we're going to lift. We're not coming into a full shoulder, but just an inverted position. This position very important for the blood circulation as well as for the Vishuddhi chakra along with the Ajna. And in the back of the Ajna chakra, we have something called the Bindu. And the Bindu is essentially a vessel which collects this fluid or this energy. And this is one of the positions that really starts to release this type of energy. And when you're ready, staying here, of course, for as long as you like. Otherwise, we're going to slowly start to release the feet back down to center and exhaling back down into our two-leg raised and very slowly bending our knees and lengthening the legs, coming into Shavasana. Keep your eyes closed, breath deep, heart soft, mind open, body relaxed. Relax your jaw, relax your hips. Feel the weight of the body in the back of your head, your shoulders, your heels. Feel your spine climbing. Remind yourself the balloon in your belly, making your body more and more relaxed, restoring yourself to an original state of health and wellness. Staying in this position for as long as you so desire. Scanning your body with your conscious mind, releasing any remaining tightness or tension, be it physical or mental. And with the exhale, let it go. Breathe it out. Visualize this thing, good, bad, happy, sad, whatever it may be. Let it return back to the ether from where it belongs. It does not belong to you. Do not hold on to it. It will do you and serve you no purpose. Continuing to breathe very deeply into the balloon in your belly, the barrel in your ribs, the spaces in your faces, coming up into the Sahasrara crown chakra. And when you are ready, very gently begin to wiggle the fingers and toes. Allow your head to turn to the left and to the right. Inhaling his arms overhead, interlacing the fingers, folding the body to the left and to the right. Inhale, bringing the knees up, interlacing the arms around the calves and letting the body rock side to side, up and down, back and forth, or finding stillness. Whatever your body needs, just listen or explore the space with a sense of curiosity and playfulness. When you're ready, allowing the body to come down to the right-hand side, using the right bicep as a pillow. In this original yoga position, take a moment to send your love to all the people that have helped you be what you have become. Send your love to those who are suffering. Allow a smile to come across the face, releasing endorphins from the practice, reminding yourself the effects of yoga continue long after we have left the mat. And when you are ready, and only when you are ready, very gently coming back up to a comfortably seated position. Taking a moment to feel the effects of the practice, closing your eyes, keeping your hands, manifesting whatever it is they so desire. It is traditional to close the practice with a breath extension, vibration, creation practice. It is the original sound. It has many different meanings. And while yoga is not a religious practice, the word Om is etymologically connected to all of the monotheistic religions of Amen, Amin, and Amun. So when you are ready, bring the hands into the heart, thumbs into the sternum, feel its rhythm. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Atma Namaste. you very much for your time, your energy, and your practice. Thank you for your feedback. And thank you for your birthday wishes, everybody. I very much appreciate your love. As always, remind yourself you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the emotions, you are the breath, you are the I am, you are the eternal, you are what was, is, and always will be.